Namaste viewers, this is Varsha Gore, Senior Clinical Dietitian, Apollo Hospitals, Navi Mumbai. I'm here to talk about the Nutrition Week, which is celebrated every year from 1st to 7th September. This year's theme is in fact very unique because it talks about emphasizing nutrition in all phases of life, from the womb till the elderly. Talking about the womb, let's look at the pregnant mother. Pregnant mother takes a lot of care, her family members take a lot of care so that the child which is born healthy. Eating healthy meals, avoiding processed food, timeliness, avoiding junk food is very important to nourish the mother and to the newborn baby. The first 1,000 days of life, that is from lactation, from that and the child which is born, is very important because during the lactation, the mother in fact requires to eat little extra than what she eats in terms of calories, protein, and some important micronutrients like iron and calcium and folic acid. This will enable the breastfed child to have healthy nourishment. It also gives immunity to the baby in terms so that the illnesses in long term can be prevented. The next phase is infancy, where the child still depends on the breast milk, plus he takes a lot of new complementary weaning foods. Weaning foods should be chosen rightly. They should be selected one. Adulthood is a phase where there's a lot of growth happening. Also, the child also has senses of what he likes and dislikes. More than the child, I think it is the parent education which is very important in imparting what kind of habits to set in the child. This is the time when children are more picky, they learn from their friends. So, certain good habits, like for example, sitting for meals with the family, avoiding any kind of distractions, avoid street foods, avoid foods which you just see on the advertisement. This can happen, but along with that, there has to be a healthy portion. A wholesome plate of diet is required, which will include proteins, carbohydrates, dairy products, vegetables, and fruits. All in all, this is required because when you talk about growth, it is not only just height and weight, but it is maturity of organs which is shaping up, the skeletal muscles, the bones, which is going to grow in the longer years of life. After childhood, the next phase is of adolescence, or what we understand as teenagers. This is the time when there is a lot of social exposure. In fact, there's a little rebellious attitude because they have become independent, but also they are very conscious about their body image. They are conscious on one side, but they are dependent on many things and they are exposed to many factors. So right nutrition is at most important. Hormonal changes are also happening at this phase. So whether it is females or males, they ought to eat a healthy plate. They have to try and avoid junk foods, have to have timely meals because we find they tend to skip meals, sometimes they overeat meals, and there is a chances of addiction. So choosing healthy plate, including at least a lot of colorful vegetables, fruits, avoiding juices, avoiding refined foods would really help them to stay in the sustainable weight and height measures. Their body mass index or BMI, what we understand, will be in the healthy range. This will enable to have a healthy portion and avoid them to get any kind of diseases when they reach their adulthood. During the adult phase, you really cannot say that adult is something as 30 years, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. This is the phase, it is of maintenance. And during the maintenance phase, we actually do not need any calories for growth, but we need calories for sustaining our body. So eat the timely meals because that is the time you do have professional stresses and strain. We tend to avoid eating, we tend to have parties and socialization. We must not forget that we should include our three major meals, that's the breakfast, lunch and dinner. Include fruits, handful of nuts, a dairy product during the mid meals as a healthy habit. This will also help us to prevent the disease which can strike at any age because diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular risk factors such as the cholesterol issues, stroke can really have damaging effect if we do not take care of diet. Most of the non-communicable diseases do happen during your adulthood, so playing important role to nutrition will help. Taking care that functional foods, antioxidants, which will include not only vitamins and minerals, but it will include certain herbs, spices, a lot of variety, where you're really very cautious and mindful that you really need to streamline your diet is at most important. Healthy adulthood will easily pass on because you will also need exercise in place, will help you to have a good healthy life. This will enable us how our elderly person will be. As adults, if we have maintained a healthy life, as elderly, we'll have lesser health issues. During elderly, that is after 60 years of age, there is slowdown of our body processes. So you would really wonder that if you could initially eat like 3-4 chapatis, your diet has come down substantially. But at this time, even if it comes down substantially, you should understand that it is the metabolic changes which happens, and due to which your body is slowing down and you need lesser calories. But what we cannot really forget is that with lesser calories, you need to optimize your plate. There should be smart plate wherein you eat less. You may supplement with proteins. You may supplement with concentrated foods like nuts, dry foods. Suppose you are having chewing issues, then swallowing issues, then maybe you can have semi-solid consistency of diet. Take small frequent meals, make milkshakes, smoothies, have lesser portion, exercise regularly, because if you exercise along with healthy diet, it will prevent you from frailty, it will prevent you from any mental health issues, and that all will help you to keep being healthy. So, to summarize, I would like to say that each phase of life is important. Nutrition is important during each phase, and you need to take care of it. Thank you.